Welcome to another channel of the DiscJockey Club, man. It's your boy QDK, as you already know. Today I want to talk about the history of house music in South Africa, right? For the longest time I've been speaking to people about how house music became to be what it is in South Africa right now. And I think not everyone knows or pick this up of what made house music to what it is, you know, because as we all know, house music is not necessarily a South African product, you know. It started in Chicago, rather, not even in New York, in America, Chicago, and that was after the boycott of the disco, right? And in a way, I would say it was inspired by disco, you know. So before there was dance music, of which that is house music, people were going out into clubs or discos. I think they were called discos at that time. And the genre that was dominant back then was disco, right? And that is in America. And that was like in the 1970s or so, if I'm not mistaken. And I think the pioneer is Frankie Knuckles, right? Yeah, so if we cross over to South Africa and see how our mothers and fathers were grooving like in the late 80s to maybe early 90s, late 80s to early 90s, right? We all know the music that was dominant by that time, and we called it the bubble gum. I think it was the bubble gum, like your likes of Brenda Fassie, your Yvonne Chaka Chakas, you know, your Caiphus Manyas, and everyone that was doing music in that period of Brenda Fassie. I think Brenda Fassie is the one person I could like highlight, because Brenda Fassie kind of transitioned in a way into what we would also categorize as quiet, or in a way just a little bit, just a touch, you know. Because why I say this, because I feel like some of the music of the early quieter music was kind of also influenced by that period of your Brenda Fassie and stuff like that. But of course, as I'm saying, crossing over to quieter music, right? That will be in your early 90s, of which now your Brenda Fassies were kind of taking a back seat, and there were new stars coming into the scene. Your Arthur Mafukades and others, your Duma Silelas, your TKZs, you name them, man. But if you listen to their music, right, you'll hear the undertone, or rather the beats that they were, I wouldn't say jumping on, or maybe I would say jumping on, you know, because I wouldn't say rapping on, rather, because I'm not sure if you'd say Kwaito stars were rappers, even though maybe I still kind of feel like Kwaito was also inspired by hip-hop in a way, you know. But yeah, that's another story for another day. So Kwaito stars didn't necessarily have beats that maybe were hip-hop like, right? And what they had access to was house music. And in that time, guys like Oskidos, your Christos, and others, even I think Vinny Da Vinci was one of those pioneers of house music in South Africa, you know. So what they would do is they would take music from America, which is house music, right, and slow it down to like 110, 111 BPM, you know, which sounded different from the original song, you know? And the Kwaito guys would jump on that and make music, right, of which birthed the Kwaito genre in South Africa, right? Why am I talking about Kwaito? Because I don't think you can talk about Kwaito. I don't think you can talk about South African house music and not mention Kwaito. You understand? Like I said, it's the one that carried house music to be the popular genre that it is today in South Africa, or the genre that is perhaps the best, that South Africans became the best in the world, you understand? Without mentioning Kwaito music, because Kwaito music was that vehicle, you know, that made deep house, rather house music at large in South Africa, popular and familiar to people. Because if you listen to most of those guys that were doing music back then, you'll hear the undertone or the beat that is very much of a house beat, but it was slowed down so that the guys can be able to jump on it and yeah, basically rap, if I could put it like that, even though they would not necessarily call themselves rappers, man. So yeah, I think that's how music, house music came about. And I don't know what, I forgot this one song, man, but it was released by Vinny Da Vinci. I think it was 1995. Damn it, it's a pity I forgot the name of the song. I'll think about the name of the song and I'll write it down here somewhere, and you should check that song out. One of the first big songs in house music in South Africa, and man, it took the club scene by storm, you know. And yeah, it started, of course, in Johannesburg. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it started in Johannesburg, and there were like different club scenes. Others were more techy, and others were more soulful, of which the tech based, or the tech sound was inspired by Europe, actually. And then there was the soulful sound, of which it was inspired by America, you understand? So those were the imports we were taking from outside of the country, and sooner or later we found our own sound within the house spectrum, if I may put it like that, and it was then called the Afro House. So, but before Afro House, in the early 2000s, if you can recall, there were like companies like Soul Candies who were like very much of a deep house. I'm not sure whether to call them record labels. If you remember guys like DJ Ganyani, or DJ Musos, Kent, Euphonic, I think even DJ Fresh. Yeah, I think DJ Fresh was also at some point under Soul Candy. So yeah, man, that's just a little bit I could say about the history of house music. But yeah, as things are right now, South Africa is the leading how can I say it? It's leading in the world, basically, when it comes to house music. Everyone really enjoys South African house music, and yeah, man, it's really dope to vibe with South African house music. Yeah, I'm thinking, you know, I'm trying to think of this song, hence I'm kind of feeling a little disturbed. Trying to think of this one song, man, so that you can understand. For example, if you listen to a guy like Ted, you know, even for example, a good song will be Prover's Prayer featuring Zonke, right? Listen to that song and you'll hear the house element. Or if you listen to, who's this guy? Who's this other guy, man? Ding, 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 ding. Even if you listen to Trompies, if you listen to Alaska, you will get that element. Even TKZ, you'll get that element of house music. So, man, give props to Kwaito, man, for carrying the sound, even though people didn't recognize it as house, and maybe to some this information will be like new information of what do you mean about the Kwaito carrying house? It's because of the beats they were using. So yeah, man, that's the little bit history I know, at least about house music in South Africa. Guys like, who's this guy? Like your Lebo Mathosa. Yes, Lebo Mathosa was very much tapped into house music, like beats basically for her music. Artists, may her soul rest in peace, by the way. Artists like TK, also may her soul rest in peace, you know, had that element. So if you want to really find the roots, you can just wind down the time and go and listen to like the old school music, like from maybe I could say late 90s till I would say even now, even the amapiano, you can hear the element of Kwaito. You understand? So Kwaito, man, was the one. For me, I feel like Kwaito was the one. Like, I'm trying to think of the guy whom, because I was such a huge fan of Kwaito, right? I'm trying to think of a guy who was also, who loved to also use these beats. In fact, I don't even have to look for a particular guy. I think each and every artist that was doing Kwaito at that time would have would have these house beats reduced to a lower BPM so that they could be able to jump on them and make music, or rather add lyrics, you know, and which gave us a nice South African flavor of what I would call hip hop. I know hip hop cats are gonna come for me, man, but I always felt like Kwaito also do have an element of hip hop because of the lyricism that goes in there. Not everyone, of course, was punching and doing all those hip hop things that you guys want to talk about, but there is an influence of hip hop in Kwaito, you know. Even a song like Tinekas by Zola, Tinekas, Siketo Fabulous. You will hear that song, man. Come on, you get it now. Like Glenn Lewis was playing this sound. What did they call this sound? But it's a very slow BPM. Damn it! What do they call this sound now? Low deep tempo. Yeah, basically, you know, you'll feel that low deep tempo from that Tinekasi by Zola. You know, I think. Not Ghetto Fabulous. No, Ghetto Fabulous was rather more of a hip hop because it was even produced by hip hop cats. But Tina Ekasi by Zola, yeah, was a nice a low deep tempo kind of sound for me, at least. That's how I hear it, you know. But yeah, I can name a lot. But if you want to get that house background from South Africa, listen to some Kwaito music and then you will get what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I don't want to make this video long. I just wanted to give a 2 cents of what I know about the history of house music in South Africa. And yeah, man, I cannot dwell on it any longer, but it's I think that's the genre, which is Kwaito, that carried house and made house music what it is. But yeah, who else can I think about, man? Yeah, but you should check it out and tell me what you think. If you think I'm wrong, still welcome, and you can state your reasons why you say that, and then maybe we can keep it in the comment section. But yeah, this was another episode of the DiscJockey Club. And yeah, I'm happy to be here. I hope you're happy too. See you on the next episode. Please do not forget to subscribe. We need subscribers, guys. Do not forget to subscribe. Do not forget to like. Do not forget to comment. Do everything. If you are still here, you are much loved. Thank you so much. See you on the next one.